Hey, Alexa Bliss.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very well. How are you?
I'm great.
Good. I've been wanting to meet you for a long time. We've never met. I watched you train at the Performance Center, I think, in like 2014.
Yeah.
But it's nice to finally meet you. Here we are backstage at Madison Square Garden. Very historic venue. How are you feeling about tonight?
I am very excited / a little bit nervous because, it's Madison Square Garden and it's one of our biggest shows. And I'm really excited to see the crowd and the interaction and have a match in this just historic place. And I'm so excited.
It's quite a wild crowd, isn't it, in New York?
Oh, of course.
And do you like it? Do you like it when they're wild like that?
I do. It makes it so much more fun, to interact with the crowd. And, I like to, make them mad at me. So it's so much easier when the crowd is more interactive to do that.
Yeah. Now, how is life treating you at the moment? You were called up from NXT on draft night in July. So what's day-to-day life like now for Alexa Bliss? Is it a bit of a whirlwind, I imagine?
It's crazy. It's so much different than it was in NXT. In NXT, I was just really trying to find my place on the roster and establish who I am. And then I was drafted to SmackDown, where I began, really coming into my own. And then pretty quickly was made SmackDown Women's Champion. And by putting the former champion Becky Lynch through a table at TLC, and then shortly after becoming two-time SmackDown Women's Champion, which was an amazing experience as well. It's crazy, like a year ago, if you would have told me that I would be performing in Madison Square Garden for the second time as the two-time SmackDown Women's Champion, I wouldn't have believed you. You know what I mean? So it's just like it's very surreal, but it's really awesome, and I'm loving every minute of it.
And do you feel a lot of pressure? Like for instance, you're considered the best woman on the mic in terms of promos on the SmackDown roster. You're a great performer, but having that massive spotlight on you, do you put pressure on yourself?
I definitely think I put pressure on myself, but I always have.
Yeah.
Starting at a young age, I was competing in gymnastics at age 5, and I would always put so much pressure on myself. If I had one little slip up, it was one of those things that I thought it was the end of the world. And, even in All-Star Cheer, I remember this one specific competition, I messed up one move, and I cried and cried and cried about it because I was so hard on myself with all this pressure, and I ended up still winning first place. And it was just one of those things that, you got to be easier on yourself. And the fact that I do hold the title and there is all this pressure on me, I think I've learned, instead of to crumble under the pressure, to really thrive through the pressure and use it as the fuel that keeps me going. Yeah.
So your journey to WWE, obviously it was a bit rocky. You've talked about the eating disorder you have when you're in your teenage years. Does something like that really kind of push you forward and drive you to achieve greatness, or does that sort of thing haunt you a bit?
I think it's one of those things, looking back on it and the whole eating disorder, because I went through it twice, I was thinking to myself, I could let this be a thing that will always bring me down and haunt me, and it will always be in the back of my mind. Anybody who has struggled through it knows that you never get over it. There's always something, a little bit of something in the back of your mind, but I want to show, that you can overcome those things and you can achieve great things, and I want to be that person that just says, I understand you're going through this because I went through it too, but you have to want to help yourself. And I found that moment of that kind of gear switch where I realized I wanted to help myself and not become a statistic and have someone else learn from my mistakes, but learn from my accomplishments and show that, you can get through it. And, it's definitely one of those things that'll always be in the back of my head, but it will not take away from anything that I'm working for, because I will not let it rob me of it again. And
was that a conscious decision you made to sort of publicly talk about that kind of stuff? Because it's a big personal thing, I guess, but you're a role model now. So I guess, did that sort of play a part in talking about it?
I never really actually planned on really coming out about it.
Yeah.
I even, right after I had first recovered from the eating disorder, I was contacted by American Cheerleader magazine, and they wanted me to be on the cover of their magazine and do this whole spotlight on, they pick 6 girls a year, and you're kind of like a role model to the girls that are reading the magazine, and I specifically didn't want to tell them about my eating disorder. One, because I didn't want them to kind of shame me for it, because I didn't know how people would perceive it. And I also didn't want the sympathy of it. You know what I mean? Because it's not one of those things that you're just like, oh, I went through this. It's no, you take it, you turn it to a positive, and I guess the more that people are accepting of hearing about it, the more open I am to talk about it, because I don't let it hold me back from what I'm doing, but I would like to use that to help people, because I know there are so many people, especially now with the media nowadays, and this image that girls try to portray. I used to be one of those girls that used to try to look a certain way, and it's not for everybody, and you have to learn to have that balance and be happy with yourself, and that's basically why I'm speaking out about it now, to show that you can be strong, you can be curvy, you can be happy with how you look, and it can help you take. It's helped me take the greatest step in my life.
Yeah, high five for that. Boom.
Thank you.
Congratulations on everything. Now, it's no secret you are engaged. Congratulations,
yes, thank you.
Buddy Murphy. Awesome news. Him being in NXT, you getting the call up to SmackDown Live, has that caused any struggles? Because you're traveling a lot more now, I guess. Yeah,
I'm traveling a lot more. So Murphy and I gotten engaged. It's actually been over a year, and people are like,
and you're not married yet?
No. So what had happened was,
he needs to hurry up. He needs to organize this.
I'll explain. So we got engaged like over a year ago. It was a couple Christmases ago, or last Christmas. And we were like, okay, so we're going to set this date. And then I ended up being moved to SmackDown, which was amazing. And so we're like, all right, we'll push it to this date. And then with our traveling, we used to see each other 7 days a week and work together 6 days a week, because I was partnered with Blake and Murphy. And now we see each other maybe 6 hours a week. Wow. So it's one of those things that we've really be able to talk through text and FaceTime, and I'm sure he's annoyed with me calling his phone like every other minute, but it's one of those things that we have had to adapt to for sure. But I think if anything, it's made us stronger, because you have to have that trust and know that I'm super proud of him and everything he's accomplished in NXT, and I know he's super proud of me, and we watch each other's matches all the time, and he always texts me after every segment on SmackDown, and like I know he's watching, and that we're in it together. Yeah.
And it's hard to organise a wedding over FaceTime, isn't it?
Right. It's so hard, because actually one time I sent him this pin on Pinterest, and he had no idea what Pinterest was. So he was getting all these links from Pinterest, and he was just like, I don't know what I'm supposed to be looking at. And I'm like, no, you're looking at the venues. Look at this. Like, I like this. And he's learning. Yeah. He's learning.
Okay. Poor guy. Let's talk about WrestleMania 33 is on the horizon. This is going to be not officially your first Mania, because you were part of Triple H's entrance there, right, in New Orleans. But this is going to be your first competing WrestleMania. Talk to me about how you're feeling. Is there like one particular part of WrestleMania you're particularly looking forward to?
I plan on going into WrestleMania as SmackDown Women's Champion. So I'm very excited to do that. And I remember last year being at WrestleMania, watching the women's match, Charlotte, Sasha, and Becky Lynch, triple threat for the first ever women's title. And I just remember thinking, God, I want to be out there. I want to be in that ring. I want to be doing that. And it's just so crazy to know that this year I'll be having a match at WrestleMania. And it's so cool. And my family lives in Orlando now, so it's basically kind of like home turf. And so they all get to be there, and it's just, I'm so excited, and it's going to be such a great night.
So Daniel Bryan said you would be facing every available woman on the SmackDown roster. Are we going to see any surprises in this match? Do you know what we've got in store?
To be honest, I have no idea. So he said every available woman, and I was trying to get it out of him, because, I'm the champ. I need to know this stuff. I need to know,
prepare, right?
Who, yeah. Right? And he's not telling me anything. So I'm just like, you know what? Fine. Bring whoever you want. Bring them all in, because I'm still going to walk out SmackDown Women's Champion. I'm a fighting champion. It's what I do.
Absolutely. Alexa Bliss, lovely to meet you.
Nice meeting you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.